Family businesses in India contribute significantly, but very few family businesses last for many generations. So, what do you think are certain points which go wrong?
First thing is intent. Whether your intention is to pass it on or not, and their intention to take it on or not. Second requirement is
Suppose the next generation is not ready and the business has a lot of potential. Then what should be done in that?
professionalize the organization. Dabur is one example.
You started your career as a founding member with SAR Group. You grew up to the CEO.
In a startup scenario, you get a lot of opportunity to grow.
One side, as a CEO, there is always a business pressure to deliver. Every quarter defines success or failure. While building a team is a long-term process. How do you balance that?
You have to plan your time for three things. One is short term, one is medium term, one is long term.
And what are your top 5 strengths?
My number one is responsibility, number two is individualization, number three is...
What are certain things which the current generation entrepreneurs can learn from the previous generation?
If you look at older generation, because of resource constraint, you always bootstrap your operation.
Yes.
From the day one, you look at profit and cash flow.
What is the most difficult part of building a team?
The most difficult part of building a team is that how...
Welcome to another exciting episode of the On Top of the Game podcast. This is the podcast where we get up close and personal with some of the most inspiring people out there, exploring their extraordinary journeys and uncovering the lessons that we can take all away. Today, I have the honor of speaking with a true leader at the board level, Paresh Pradhan. Paresh ji is a powerhouse whose contributions have been transformative, particularly in his role as a founding member of the prestigious SAR Group. Over the course of his career, he has worn many hats as a CEO, CHRO, and now serving as a board of director for many companies, all while contributing to society through his philanthropic initiatives. I had the pleasure of meeting him about 3 years ago, and I've been continually inspired by his deep knowledge of strength science and his passion for coaching people. Having known him as a person, I can confidently say that he's not just a board member. He's a cheerleader, an elder brother, or a board member that every startup founder would dream of having. His blend of strategic insights and genuine care for his people is truly remarkable. Paresh ji, it's an absolute privilege to have you on our show. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Abhishek.
Thank you. Thank you. So, Paresh ji, it's a podcast. It will be a very free-flowing discussion. There is nothing scripted here.
Yeah.
So, I'd like you to talk about your journey. Where were you born? Take us through, your career journey.
Okay.
It'll be really, really interesting.
Okay. So, I am from Odisha. I was from a family of typical middle class government servant family. My father was an electrical engineer in Odisha State Electricity Board. We are 5 brothers. I am the 4th one. And so I started my schooling in different school pretty early in my, which I realized much later, because my father had a transferable job. So, by the time I passed my matriculation, I probably had been gone to about 7-8 schools. So there were a lot of learning during that period, adapting to new, environment, new people, stuff like that. And then I did my graduation in mathematics. And after that, I went to Chennai to do my engineering in electronics. And I started my career in Chennai itself.
Right.
I worked for a very short period in Thermax. Unfortunately, Thermax had to shut down that division. So I decided to move out and started looking for an opportunity.
Right.
And that is the time my eldest brother was here in Delhi. So that brought me to Delhi. And, I was looking for opportunity, and that is the time I met Mr. Rakesh Malhotra, who is the founder of SAR Group,
Right.
pretty early in 1992. And that time it was a startup. When I joined, we were all about 11 odd people, a very small revenue. So it was like a true startup, I don't know what happened, quite young, if I say anything now, I'll be a fool to say that I knew where it is going or so. But the thing is that, the first time I had an interaction with him for about an hour or so, something clicked. And, the vibe I got, something clicked, and I thought that, this is uh, something I can start with.
Right.
Though I had other opportunity in more established companies, but I thought, this is a challenge to take. So
Right.
that is how I joined them. So, and from there, the journey started.
Great. So, Pareshji, during that time, people used to aspire to go to government jobs or used to join, big giants, big, large companies. Nowadays, if you see, joining a startup is very glamorous. And joining a startup, that too becoming part of a company right from the founding days, is very, very glamorous. So, why did you take that decision? What triggered you? Why didn't you? Yeah.
See, let me tell you, yeah, if I'll say I was wise enough to take that decision, it will be wrong because you were quite young and quite immature. But one thing, uh, you know, uh, I had always in mind, whether you want to be a tail of a lion or a head of a jackal.
Right. Right.
So, in a startup scenario, when it is a small company, you get a lot of opportunity to grow.
Yeah.
Where in larger companies, you get set into one role. Maybe I would have been continued to, grow in one vertical rather than
Right.
going a wholesome, leadership role.
Right. And what has been your experience of initial days? Tell us about that. So, what were the struggle, challenges? Because, I mean, being part of a founding team, you must be cracking a lot of things together.
Mhm.
So, what was that like? How it used to happen at that time?
The good thing was that it was like a family. So no job is defined, your role is not defined.
Yeah.
So anything comes on the way,
Yeah.
and there is an issue, everybody jumps into it.
Right.
Challenges were plenty
Right.
because those days, those startup culture or environment was not available.
Right.
So there were always lack of resources.
Right.
Finance, everything. You can only get a bank loan. That is also was also very difficult. There was no investment available for nowadays it is
Yeah.
plentifully
Absolutely.
available. So those were the biggest challenge
Right.
to grow.
Right.
So that's why you always take smaller step, a wide step to grow, and you try to build the business profitably so that from the profit you can invest back and grow.
Yeah. So it was more about focusing on profitability because there was no option to raise more money,
Yeah,
raise
yeah,
more capital, and be in losses for many years.
yeah.
It's
Right.
very different landscape.
Different
Yeah.
environment. And Mr. Malhotra was also, a first generation entrepreneur. So
Right.
his father was also a government servant. So he was not coming with a
With some
lot of
legacy.
personal
Yeah.
wealth
Yeah.
where he can invest, right upfront to create something big.
Right. So now when you look back, this entire journey of so many years, now you serve in board of many companies within SAR Group and outside. How does it look like when you reflect back your entire journey? So what are some memories that you have of initial years?
See, nowadays, you can do that much faster. Much, yeah, this is the big difference. But the thing is that when you grow consistently
Hmm.
and sustainably, there are a lot of other things get created,
Right.
which are very long lasting,
Hmm.
like culture of the organization, like the bonding and collaboration of the people. Because when you are, you know, growing gradually, and then you always create that. But if you have a sudden growth,
Right.
then the growth itself take its own position,
Yeah.
and you don't have enough time or focus to build the culture and the correct foundation of the company to grow.
So at that time, so when you were building your team, building your organization, so was it easy to hire people?
Not really. Not really.
Right.
Because as I said, startup was not a fashion.
Yeah.
So naturally, the way you asked me the question, why didn't you join a larger company? So any engineer and anybody you want to hire, you will prefer to join a bigger company. So
Right.
it was always very difficult for us to get people.
Right.
So we took a strategy of hiring freshers. So that was our best option.
Right.
And take the pain of training them, developing them. That is the way the whole organization got built.
Right. So a lot of them also exist in the organization.
Yes, still.
Right. And they may be playing a very pivotal role in
Yes,
this.
yes.
Yeah.
A lot of them have grown. To give an example, a service technician become the national head of service.
Right.
So a lot of these things happened.
Right. So when you build an organization from that stage and with not having much access to funding, depending on customers, making sure that the product market fit is right, right from the early age, then generating revenue, building a team. So after creating an organization up to a level, what I see, because I also have worked with a couple of family-owned organization in my capacity as a professional, I got a chance to work with them, coach them, design leadership development programs for them. What I've seen is that it is very difficult for a lot of organizations to let go. And what happens, that prevents them from scaling up as compared to the potential that they have. But when I see SAR Group and all of you, the founding members, you have been successfully able to transit, and now you see that the organization is growing, and it is a very well renowned organization. So there must be certain things which you all must have prepared yourself mentally to let go of certain things, and so that scale can be captured.
Yeah, see, one of the very important thing is your learning agility.
Right.
And today the entire environment is very, very volatile and very ambiguous, and it's changing very fast.
Yeah.
And you need to adapt.
Right.
Adapt as quickly as possible. So that happens only when you keep on learning.
Right.
And to learn new things, you have to forget the old learnings. So, in the other hand, you are saying, I'm letting go of some of my, beliefs, some of my convictions,
Right.
and stuff like that.
Right.
So, there are different phases this company grew to that level, and at different phases, everybody added, including Mr. Malhotra, everybody, the whole organization.
Right.
Because Mr. Malhotra had not gone to a B school. I have not gone to a B school. None of other directors have gone to a B school.
Right.
All are engineers.
Right.
But in some way or other, everybody invested in learning at different time.
Right.
Maybe smaller capsules, smaller trainings. Everybody started building.
Yeah.
Your commercial acumen, your financial, because other aspect of business.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah.
So that is the way we could, navigate this all through.
Changes and everything. Yeah. Sure. So now, Paresh, you started your career as a founding member with SAR Group. You grew up to the CEO. What was that biggest challenge that you faced as a CEO, and how did you deal with that?
See, for me, I took smaller steps. I always understood what are my strengths and what are my weaknesses. I always believed that a team can succeed.
Right.
A person cannot succeed in a team
Absolutely.
event. So you always try to find out. I always tried to find out. I knew that I cannot be expert in everything. And if you want to learn everything, you cannot be expert. So you have to have right resources for what you don't know.
Right.
And try to create a cohesive team to build that. So this was the biggest challenge, because as you go on from a sales engineer till become a CEO, there are different aspects you need to learn.
Right.
And some aspect you can learn and expertise, and some aspect you cannot learn
Right.
to that level.
Mm.
Then you have to have right resources hired, whom you can rely on and trust upon to do those jobs.
Right.
And that is the way I navigated my journey of the growth.
Right. So, what is the most difficult part of building a team?
See, the most difficult part of building a team is that how you create trust among them,
Right.
and how they can work together, not competing with each other,
Right.
understanding that each one of them is important in the whole system.
Right.
So to create that environment is very important. Of course, for that, first of all, you have to identify each person about their strength, how they and what are their motivation. Some people need push, some people need nudge, some people need not. They need nothing.
Right.
They do on their own. So
Right.
you need to understand that nuances, and there is no one formula fits to all as far as individuals are concerned.
Right.
So always the challenge, and that dynamics comes always.
Right.
People are people at the end of the day, and
Absolutely.
always would like to compete and become more significant. To balance that
Right.
correctly, and hence also uh, make them motivated is one of the most challenging things.
So, on one side, as a CEO of an organization, there is always a business pressure to deliver. There is every quarter defines success or failure. While building a team is a long-term process. So, how much role, patience, and how do you balance that? Because it's it's a dilemma, So many times when I meet to young CEOs, young founders, they say, okay, either I can build my team or I can deliver business. I always share with them that prioritize activities, initiatives that will help you build your team for a longer term. But they are also under tremendous pressure of delivering quarterly results, and many times they ignore it. By the time they realize that something has gone wrong, it is too late. They're not just one quarter is spoiled, 3 more quarters are spoiled. So, as a CEO, how did you create that balance, and what is it that you would like to share to young founders in this regard, especially?
See, I believe that when you plan your time, you have to plan your time for three things. One is short term, one is medium term, one is long term.
Right.
You cannot stick to, spend all your time, chasing one goal, then you will miss the whole scenario.
Right.
So you have to, if there is a pressure. When I was a pressure to deliver numbers, so that is your first priority. So you probably spend 80-85% time on doing that. But the thing is that you have to ensure that I have those 10-15% of the time,
Right.
available to invest in things which will help me in future.
Right.
So that is the way I handle this scenario. And whomever I talk to, I always say that this you have to do.
Right.
Otherwise, see, you are as good as your team.
Yeah.
So that is very important. And for me, it came naturally because I strongly believe that the team is doing, I am not doing.
Right.
Number one. Second thing is that I have a inclination of knowing people more deeper, understanding them, helping them grow. So it's a natural interest.
Right.
So I find time.
Yeah.
To do all of this.
Right. So it's difficult to convince self, right? So what is the self-talk like when a CEO tries to convince self that, okay, there is going to be some impact on the business in the short term, but if I, let's say, prioritize these activities, these initiatives, it is definitely going to build in the long term. I see this mindset is not visibly present in a lot of business leaders. Though business numbers are always a priority, but very few leaders I've come across who have this courage of saying that no, I will invest in building my team, building my resources, focusing on capabilities, so that in long run I'm able to achieve my business goals, and they prioritize. For some, it is like one side activity that, okay, while they are doing business,
See, you have to look at that. Look that is whether it is a 100-meter run or it is a marathon.
Right.
Building business for sustainably growing business for long term is a marathon.
Right.
So you have to have proper planning. You have to have proper focus and time dedicated to different things.
Right.
At different time, that ratio can be here and there. But if you are not spending any time on that activity, that will be very difficult to recover.
Sure. So let's move to another avatar that you played as a CHRO, and you really enjoyed that part also as much as you enjoyed being a
That
CHRO.
is my passion. I am not qualified as a CHRO.
So, what was the trigger point for you to take that up? And
I don't know. It came right. I don't know from the beginning. I'm a person. I spent. People is one of my motivation.
Right.
I came to know much later when I try to reflect back, and I had this privilege and opportunity, and I thank our founder for that. That happens in a smaller setup. When you join a startup, and you have anyway sort of people.
Right.
And you say that, when we started, there was no HR.
Right.
It was this payroll and stuff like that. And but you say that, I won't compromise on my role,
Right.
but I would like to look after HR also.
Yeah.
This opportunity is given,
Right.
because let's try it. That is how I got into it.
Yeah.
And it has been always my interest, and so I carry on doing that. So I always double-headed. At no point of time I was only CHRO, not doing a business.
Right. So there are many family-owned businesses where the founders have been successfully able to transfer the business to the next generation, and they are successfully running. But there are a lot of family-owned businesses where the founders have not been able to do that successfully, and the businesses have shut down, or they have not been able to achieve the scale as per their potential. So what do you think is required? What suggestion you would like to give to family-owned businesses? What can they do so that they can transit successfully into new generation?
See, the question is very clear. There is two generation in question now.
Yeah.
The first of all is that in every situation, first thing is intent.
Right.
Whether your intention is to pass it on or not,
Right.
and their intention to take it on or not.
Right.
So this is the first requirement. Second requirement is what competency the next generation has to take it on. So there are two
Aspects to it.
ability,
Yeah.
the ability. And if the intent and ability of the next generation is there, then the first generation has to, prepare themselves
Yeah.
to let go.
Right.
And accept the new.
Right.
Because this won't be possible that the way you are running the business, to expect the same way your children to run that business, won't be same.
Right.
You might have better results.
Right.
Who knows?
Right.
The environments are changing. So it is more of a what do you call belief, and what emotions you are carrying inside. So frankly speaking, somebody need to go deeper into that to say that what is stopping you to let go.
Yeah. Suppose the next generation is not ready. They are competent, but they don't have the intent to continue this business, and the business has a lot of potential. Then what should be done in that case?
And then you do professionalize the organization.
Right.
And let the family member be the shareholders of the organization, and let there be executive board who takes care of that. So there are many businesses which have transformed into this. Dover is one example. Pidilite, a lot of businesses have been successfully nowadays running, not by promoters but by executives.
Right. So initially, earlier, Paresh, when you must have started your career at that point of a time, there were very few people who were taking this plunge and coming into entrepreneurship.
Mm.
Now you see that entrepreneurship is on rise,
Mm.
and you are someone who has worked with entrepreneurs at that generation also. You work with entrepreneurs of this generation also.
Mm.
What difference do you see in the entrepreneurs of that generation and people who were able to take risk at that stage when nothing was available, and entrepreneurs who are currently ecosystem is there, a lot of support system is available, and they are taking risks. So what is the fine difference? Only you will be able to tell, because you have
See, the risk-taking ability is always same.
Yeah.
Because there is the same scenario for the younger generation and older people. Whoever is taking that risk to get into this.
Yeah.
But the difference is that because there are a lot of resources available, and also the environment of this new generation, they want everything fast, quick, fast, starting from
10 minutes delivery.
fast food to everything. Yeah. So that they miss a lot of things to build it sustainably.
Right.
If you look at older generation, because of resource constraint, you always bootstrap your operation.
Yes.
You, from the day one, you look at profit and cash flow.
Yeah.
You don't only look at revenue.
Yeah.
If you look at the new setup, everybody is looking at valuation. So somewhere, most of them, I won't say all of them, but most of them are in that instant growth making and money making process.
Yeah.
And somewhere deep inside, you build a business to create valuation and get out of it.
Yeah.
Where the older generation, when they built a company, they built it for legacy.
Yeah.
They never thought of exiting anything like this.
Right.
So there is a fundamental difference between how you start.
You're right. In fact, I've seen a lot of founders who have been previous generation founders. It is very difficult for them to let go of their equity, and it is not about equity only. It is about they want to be attached to that business. They want to build that business. And I've seen many people with this thought have also been able to scale. Unlike today's generation, where you see entrepreneurs are very competent, but they also look at exit at a point of time, and they gradually detach themselves from the business.
Right.
That's the difference.
So that is a learning.
Yeah.
As I say, you keep on learning.
Yeah.
What made you succeed yesterday won't make you succeed today.
Yeah.
So you need to learn that.
So what are certain things which the current generation entrepreneurs can learn from the previous generation? And what are certain things which the previous generation entrepreneurs, maybe when one ecosystem was not available, startups were not that glamorous, So what can they learn from some current founders and vice versa?
See, I won't be the right person to answer this, but I can tell my opinion and my view. I strongly believe that develop, any business sustainably is very, very important.
Right.
So don't, think long term, build sustainably, build business profitably, so that, at any point of time, your business has real value, not the valuation, the real value.
Right.
So that is one thing. And anybody who is developing business like this in the new scenario, you won't see them, fading away soon.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that there are, in the new economic scenario and an environment, if there is an opportunity to build business faster, why not?
Paresh, now I would like to talk about a very different aspect, and something which you are very personally inclined towards, and that is coaching people, And when I met you for the first time, I did not know that you have so much knowledge. You have done your certification in coaching. You are someone who really enjoys it. You have deep knowledge and understanding about subject. So tell me about, what strength science means to you, and how it has impacted you as an individual, and therefore, how you feel it can impact many people, not just strength science, maybe any form of coaching.
Yeah. See, let me start with how I got introduced to coaching and what triggered me to do that.
Right.
In starting days, as I said, we have been an organization, we have been hiring freshers, And in personal experience, there are a lot of people developed from X to highest level actually, and that always gave me this confidence that the educational background, what score somebody scored, is not the only thing which can help somebody grow. People average with average academic background can do wonders. So I always had this thought that at some point of time I'll retire and try to contribute in that space.
Yeah.
But as I was going along, I started seeing the generation changes, because every time you go to hire new freshers, every year you will find the thought process, everything is changed.
Yeah.
And by that time, I also got married. I became a parent. So you start to learn how these young people think. Of course, like any other older person, first few years I had that same reaction. ये हमारे टाइम पे ये नहीं होता था, ये ऐसा क्यों, ये ठीक नहीं है, all those kind of things. But slowly, I spoke to myself and understand that the environment, they are not changed. The environment has changed.
Yeah.
So if somebody has to fit in, we have to fit in, change and fit in. They don't have to change anything, So that is the time I started looking at, then that is the time also I realized my dream, wild dream of, contributing back is not possible. Because I clearly saw that this generation doesn't like somebody advising them. Doesn't like to take advice. So that is the time I said that probably this dream is going somewhere else. And so I rested it somewhere. But at few years, after 1 or 2 years, I got to know something about life coaching. First of all, I didn't understand. And my whole fundamental, then I had a call with the guy in US, and had a 1 hour call to understand. And I understand. First of all, I understood the difference between coaching, mentoring, and second thing I understood. And the beautiful thing I liked about it is that while you are coaching, you are not advising or you are not giving a solution. And that clicked, saying that, okay, this is something I want to do. If I can be a good coach, I can fulfill my dream.
Right.
Going forward, because I'm not advising. I'm not throwing my weight saying that I have done this, so you should listen to me or something like that. That is where I started.
Right.
And I liked the whole journey, and that also gave me a lot of insight about my own realization, my own awareness has increased about me.
Right.
Because I started thinking deep about where my thoughts are coming, where my emotions are coming, and where is my motivation. And that is the time I realized that my motivations are around people and relationship, not about money, business, fame, not around. So I said that at some point of time, let me become little bit financially stable. I will continue spending time there.
Right.
And that is where my journey started. And then few years after that, almost about 9 years back, I met one executive coach. I was talking to for few of our leaders, and on his card I saw, it was Gallup logo was there. I asked him, what is Gallup? Then he said that this is how, he explained me. And that whole thing, it cut me, because it is all about positive. It is all about, you are not talking about weaknesses.
Right.
You are not, so I found it very, very interesting. And that is where I, immediately got myself registered, then got certified, and then
You've been recertifying every year.
I'm now
Yeah.
by 5 times.
5 times. Yeah.
So that interests me, and you as you go into that science more and more,
Yeah.
you discover more and more.
Right.
I'm still a learner. Let me tell you, after 9 years, I
Right.
can say every time you read back your report, you will find something,
Right.
and you can reconnect lot of things.
Right.
Why you are
In a
doing
specific,
this.
yeah.
Why I have been taking those decisions,
Right.
why I was acting like this,
Right.
why I was behaving like this,
Right.
all of this get connected. So
Right.
this is that clicked on
Absolutely.
me, actually.
Absolutely. And what are your top 5 strengths?
My number 1 is responsibility, number 2 is individualization, number 3 is arranger, number 4 is learner, number 5 is relator.
So do you use all of them equally, or is there any one strength that you use more?
See, frankly speaking, when you are doing different things,
Right.
some of those top 5 play a much bigger role. Some are silent,
Right.
and so when I was in my business role, I was playing all of them,
Yeah.
not equally, but
Yeah.
all of them.
Yeah.
Responsibility, individualization, work pretty well to building teams and stuff like that, and then arranger, because we were into B2B business, solving
Multiple problems
multiple problems
together,
and
yeah.
stuff like that. So arranger was playing out, relator was always playing out, learner was always playing out. So everything was. Today, if you see at this position, because I'm not in any executive role, and I spend time with individuals or team,
Yeah.
whether at a board level,
Yeah.
or otherwise.
Right.
So today, if I say arranger is not playing
Yeah.
so much,
Yeah.
because I need not do. A lot of other people do the
Right.
arrangements, so I
Right.
don't do arranger. But responsibility is still there.
Right.
So you can see, anytime, any appointment I give you, I'm always there 10 minutes before.
Right. Right.
I take things
Seriously.
very, very
Yeah,
seriously
yeah,
if I
yeah.
say yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So individualization is something that has been worked for me,
Yeah.
and this is getting very helpful for me in coaching and mentoring.
Right.
And learning, as early as 6 months back, I did another certification in board governance
Right.
program. So I keep on
Updating
learning.
yourself, yeah.
And,
Yeah. So, Paresh, a lot of people, and because you have been someone who understands strength science in detail, and you have used it in various phases of your life in building organization while playing role in the as a board of director. So, a lot of people have this misconception and don't understand this correctly. They think that strength is all about assessment. You understand, you get a report, understand it, it's over. But it is much beyond that. How does it help understanding and building a team? So for example, let's say if there is a founder who wants to build a team and gets access to this data point about each and every team member, about, let's say, that founder gets an understanding data point about the top 5 strengths of every core team member of his or her, then how does it help a founder in that case?
See, the thing is that, in a corporate outfit, everybody shows up about him or himself.
Yeah.
This gives a very, very clear picture about what your
Actual senses.
Yeah. And that is a big sense a leader get.
I think very nice. Yeah.
And then you try to utilize each other's strength to grow the business.
Yeah.
Rather than giving responsibility to somebody who, suppose execution.
Yeah.
And you give that to somebody who has lesser strength in execution.
Yeah.
You won't be able to.
Right.
Then you are so this is helping you to build this. Another thing happens by doing this is that this is all strength. This is nothing talking about. So people also get to know each other in the team
very well.
Very well.
Yeah.
They collaborate. They create mutual respect for mutual appreciation for each other. So this plays out pretty well.
Does it also have an impact on trust?
Yes.
How?
So see, mutual appreciation and respect actually take you to the trust.
Right.
Trust cannot happen till the time I don't appreciate what Abhishek is.
Yeah.
So and you might have something which I don't have. So and then you start trusting.
Yeah.
Okay, he's good at this. Let me trust. So the trust also builds around.
So absolutely. So I'm completely with you, because I've also personally experienced this. That what happens when a founder starts learning about various dimensions of strengths, it helps them get access to the data point, which tells very clear picture about team members. So it actually helps remove a lot of perception. So it is helpful for both, for both the person who is part of the founder's team and for the founders. And that understanding is a very, very clear understanding of each other. And based on that, they can do execution, they can do influencing, they can do relationship building, they can use, in strategic thinking, and that's what I've also experienced. Yeah. Thanks. So you think that in India, strength science is still under penetrated?
Yes. It's pretty much. See, first of all, for anything to get penetrated, there has to have enough,
voices,
awareness.
Yeah.
And thanks that you are doing it.
Oh, thank you.
So till the time you don't have enough awareness, people don't know.
Yeah.
People say, what is this strength science?
Yeah.
So it is under penetrated. Even coaching as such in corporate world is pretty under penetrated.
Yeah. Very few people have access to coaching, as a privilege.
Yeah.
Great. So second, I want to now talk about, Pareshji, your philanthropic aspects. So you have been also engaged quite successfully, and in a very structured manner, you are taking a lot of philanthropic initiatives. So tell us about those initiatives. How do you wish to contribute back to the society? How does it work? What is the structure like? And please talk about it.
See, it is not about giving back to society. I don't like this word. I like that what you can contribute. Actually, see, my journey started again. I'm privileged to have that opportunity to work. Mr. Malhotra's father actually started a charitable trust about 16 years back. So it started with a small having no understanding. There was a need we identified near our factory. We started with a dispensary, and that is how it got started. But the philanthropic mindset of our founders were such that we all decided to some part of their equity of the operating companies as a corpus to the trust, and that is how the corpus got built. And so, and I started. My interest was always there, so I started getting into it, and I become the managing trustee in that trust, and also Live Pure Foundation. And from there, from my knowing nothing, we tried to slowly learn and build different aspect. And I'm happy to share that till now we have impacted more than 3 million people. And going forward, we have a mission to do another 5 million in next 3 to 4 years.
Are there any specific challenges that you are working towards?
We work in 4 themes, 3 themes in the trust, which is called Navadyam. The initiative is called Navadyam. It is Sita Devi Malhotra Charitable Trust. And there we work on primary education, primary healthcare, and livelihood. And then we have another foundation called Live Pure Foundation, where we work on safe drinking water.
Right. So, Paresh, what's the plan now? So, for example, you've had a successful career as an executive. You were a founding member. You are a founding member of a large group. You played the role of a CEO, CHRO. Now you're playing board. You're playing a role at a board level. You're also looking after philanthropic initiatives. What next? What is it that you plan to do now? Being someone who has responsibility as a strength, what is it that you're planning to do?
Not really, I'm not really, I think I had a great, fulfilling
Mm.
career so far. So this is my time to contribute. So I am trying to contribute to social initiative to people, through coaching to people,
Mm.
or through mentoring to people. So
Right.
my idea is that whatever I have learned, whatever I know, if I can share with somebody and that helps somebody, that's it. I'm not looking for anything
Yeah.
specific goal as such.
Right.
Now this is the purpose of my life. So yeah, and of course, rest of the time spending time with family and enjoy.
So thank you, Pareji. Thank you so much for joining us today on Top of the Game podcast. It was really, really nice to have you know about your journey, about your passion, various initiatives that you are taking, contributing to the society, not giving back, right? Contributing to society in terms of coaching, mentoring to people like us, and also, helping, working towards the cause of livelihood, primary healthcare, and many such social impact initiatives. Thank you so much. It was really nice to have you, our viewers. I hope you really enjoyed this discussion. Please, stay in touch and keep watching on Top of the Game podcast. Thank you, Pareshi. Thanks a lot.